so we're going to get to COVID, but first, really quickly, I want to just get your take briefly on the doping scandal. What do you think?
So the drug obviously makes your heart work more efficiently. It can improve your endurance. But the question for me is, first, her story about getting it from the water glass, completely unbelievable.
Is it impossible?
It is impossible, because when you take a drug, and I'm talking about actually taking a pill, it first goes to your stomach, then it goes to your liver, it gets metabolized. So for her to test positive on a drug screen by sharing saliva from her grandfather, incredulous, and it just makes me disbelieve everything else she's saying.
I believe the pork and the burrito story. I don't believe the water. I don't believe that either. Yeah.
But then second, I just wanted to say that the half-life of the drug is about 7 to 12 hours. So it's gone out of her system in a couple of days. But the question really does become, did it help her train more efficiently?
Right.
Which then gave her an edge. How many days was she taking it before? What dose was she taking? How long had she been taking it? Why should a 15-year-old be on a drug for angina, which is used in older people?
Interesting, Dr. Kohli. Okay, so Dr. Kohli, a lot of our viewers are writing in. I mean, we know that there's been like a nationwide rollback when it comes to mask mandates. A lot of our viewers are having arguments in the comment section in regard to their children in schools. So some areas are dropping the mask mandates for kids in schools. What do you think about this? Does it make sense to do that?
So first of all, I think the mask mandates everywhere being dropped are ridiculous. The CDC is not in support of dropping indoor mask mandates. We're not in a phase right now. Guys, we've done this many times. We go up, then we come down, but then we go up again. So what's to say we're not going to have another wave? We need to be sure about that before we drop the mask mandates. But schools, I think, are a special situation because kids under 5 are not eligible, as you know, yet for the vaccine. And out of the 5 to 11-year-olds, only 24% of them are vaccinated. So that tells me that the majority of kids under the age of 11 in schools right now are not vaccinated. So if we want to keep our kids in schools, there's only 2 ways to do that: mask mandates and vaccines.
Doc, let me ask you about this, because New York has decided to move social distancing from 6 feet to 3 feet. Now, a lot of these things are kind of ridiculous, and in my eyes, this is a little bit ridiculous. Is this going to help the spread, stop the spread? Does it even matter? Do people abide by these rules?
Well, they've studied the difference between 6 and 3, and the CDC said, okay, maybe we can do 3, but only if we have mask mandates. So you can't get rid of mask mandates and get rid of social distancing and make up this 3 feet rule instead of the 6 feet rule and think that you're doing something. That's all up here. That's not preventing the spread of the infection.
Is it kind of politicized, do you think? Like, we're moving towards the right direction, but it really doesn't matter.
Yes, and I think a lot of what we're seeing, Jeff, is, and I don't want to think about it in a bad way, I think it's a good thing. I think it's easing us back into life the way that it should be. But the problem is everybody needs to be on board with that. Every parent needs to get their kid vaccinated. Every person who's eligible for the vaccine needs to get vaccinated. So I think the idea is a little bit of posturing to try to sort of say that we're starting to shift, but I also think it's symbolic. It is symbolic of our healing, of our growth, of our recovery from this pandemic. So I don't want to poo-poo it completely.
I like the way you put it.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, she's a doctor. Yeah. Really quickly, shifting gears, but this is really interesting. A lot of medical experts are starting to kind of say that maybe food is as addictive as cigarettes and alcohol. What do you think about that? Because I could kind of see a lane for that.
I think it's very true. I mean, I'm not sure I like the word addiction to describe it, but the behavior of turning towards a substance for some sort of a pleasure reward circuit to be triggered in the brain is exactly how substance use evolves. Now, experts aren't sure if this is a substance use disorder or behavioral disorder like gambling or substance use like alcoholism, but you can see that a lot of the features are very overlapping. We take more and more of it. We take it even though it's bad for us. We have cravings. We do it, we get better, and then we relapse. So there's so much overlap with substance use that I think we need to start thinking about food addiction and obesity as a substance use problem. Then it becomes less about the person and just more about getting them better.
So true.
Well
said. Thank you, of course, Dr. Kohli. If you have a question for Dr. Kohli,
I had a good question too. My question was good.
Okay. Write us on social media. You can also email info@dailyblastlive.com.